Okay, take three. Let's see what happens. I hope you guys will be able to. I hope it works and that we'll be able to have all you guys join in. Hey, Mr. Brown. You and I will have to talk also because everybody, this is Michael Marcellus Brown. He's going to be my guest on the dialogues in a couple of weeks, I think. Right. Welcome back, Carlos Castro. Welcome back, Wayne. Hi, Mark Medeiros. Good to see you. All the invites and everything have been sent, so I'm just waiting for Sifu Ron to accept. Howard Hunt, that's an interesting name. Okay, let's see. One day this technology is gonna be sweeter. All right, so Ron's here. Let's go like this. Keep fingers crossed and take three. That's it, Sifu Nick. Faruqi. Oh man. Okay, I think we'll. Yeah.
Hey,
See?
am I on?
Yep. You are.
Hello.
You are.
All right. Success.
Yeah, I know. Hey, it's like most things in life. You just got to keep plugging. All right. So you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. So yeah, I just thought of something. This is take three. You're used to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. With me, I screw up so much stuff. It's usually take six. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Matt, I should have gotten somebody to do a clapper, right, and yell.
Yeah, slate.
Or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, hello everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel. Welcome to today's show, episode number 15 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with Ron Balicki. So, this is a guy who made me think that moving to California might not be such a bad thing.
Yeah. It's worked out. It had up and downs, but you know what, man? You should have been there a long time ago. I mean, you're like, I have my favorite Dwight story is you and I at one of those camps, and everybody just looking like they're not having fun, and you kind of like jab me with your elbow, and you're like, look at all these miserable people. They're with the best martial artists in the world, and look at them. And I just started laughing, and I just go, God, you belong out here.
Yeah.
I loved having you. Yeah.
Well, look, I took, I remembered that story, and I took a look at, I think it was on Instagram. Somebody posted a picture of you and your camp that ended yesterday, and it's like all smiles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's all smiles on the faces, right? Okay, so
it went well.
Yeah, a little bit of background for you guys. My recollection of Ron is Janesville, Wisconsin in 1988. And you were there with a guy named Larry Lindenman.
Exactly.
Lindenman,
Larry, he was
right?
my teacher, my instructor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So 1988, you were training in Chicago with Larry Lindenman.
Yeah, I started with Larry about 82 or 83, I think. And that's when I first started like the whole chasing Inosanto thing. And I think by around 86, 87, I was proficient enough to where I didn't look like a total idiot doing this, So, yeah.
Well, in 19. All right, so I'm gonna tell you something, and I love you to death, so don't take this the wrong way.
Uh-oh.
But at that seminar, you were not as smooth as you were the next time I saw you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
And the next time
that's fine.
Yeah, the next time I saw you, you had been in LA for a while. So I want to know, what did you do in LA to transform yourself from being somewhat proficient to being as proficient as you are today? Now I know that's an open-ended
copious.
question. Right.
yeah, I guess just copious amounts of reps, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, by the time I packed up and I left Chicago to go to LA, I just I lived in the gym, you know.
Hmm.
There were no distractions. I wasn't dating anybody, anything like that. I was just like work, 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 work. I figured if I'm gonna make this big move, I better make the most of it.
Yeah.
And I got my butt in gear and just trained, you know, and tried
Yeah.
not to judge anything. Just shut up, listen, and do what they tell me to do. And
Okay.
you know,
So let me try to be a little bit chronological with you. So you said 82 or so was when you started with Larry. Was that your entry into martial art, or had you done something prior to 1982?
no. As a young kid, to date ourselves, you know, when I was a kid, no, but there weren't as many martial arts schools around as there are now, obviously.
Yeah.
And we had found a little bit of judo at like a Y. I did that for a short amount of time. Then we found a karate school. I went to Shorin Karate,
Mm-hmm.
and I did that for a while. A short little thing at a kung fu school that closed down, and I called literally like, you know, read everything I read about Bruce Lee. I always kept seeing this guy, you know, being talked about, Dan Inosanto, and
Yeah.
who he was. And I literally called the academy down in LA, and I got on, and they said, well, you know, he goes to this place called Degerberg Academy. So Degerberg was recently opened, like early 80s. And I
Mm-hmm.
ran up there, and I actually knew some people who were working there. This one girl. Do you remember a girl named Stana Shimanovic?
Stand up.
Yeah, she used to run all Fred's office at Degerberg Academy because I knew you were going up there, and I knew
No,
her. I'm sorry, what?
you know what? I never went to Degerberg.
Oh, I thought you were going up there.
No, I
For some reason, I thought you
Degerberg.
were heading up that way.
No, well, I was in St. Louis a lot. I was
Mm-hmm.
in Wisconsin. I was in Minnesota a lot.
I
But
always picture you and Neil, and I know I've seen Neil
I
up
know.
there. You know, yeah. But you know, not to bring a downer to this, but as a kid, I was shot in a drive-by. You know, and the one boy that died with me, his name was Zoran Shimanovic. It was Stana who worked at Fred's, so I
No.
had a link to Degerberg Academy. Yeah, so that brought me to Degerberg,
Okay.
and I stayed there from 82 to 92 when I left, or I think I left 93 for LA.
Uh-huh. Did you
Yeah.
were you on staff there at any time? Were you an instructor there at any time?
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
taught there for a long time. I taught there for a good 6-7 years.
Okay. All right. So is 92, 93, is that when you moved to LA?
No. Oh, yeah, 93 I moved to LA. It was 93. You know the way I always remember it? I was
Mhm.
driving to LA, and the news came on that Brandon Lee had passed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, because I was on my way there.
Right.
So it's 93, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So trying to stay chronological, because like a lot of the people who I've dialogued with, like Guy Chase, for example, Guy talked about,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he when he went out to LA, he supported himself because he had a job in historic restorations and what have you. How did you support yourself when you got to the West Coast?
Well, I left the sheriff's department. I was a Cook County deputy sheriff, and
Oh,
I knew this was coming for a while, and I
yeah.
had just saved my butt off. So I had a little nest egg, and
Okay.
it was back in a wonderful time when I didn't owe anybody in the world any money, and I didn't have a bill, and it was awesome, you know. And so I just saved, and I knew I could last X amount of time out there before I had to, you know, like either if it wasn't working out, I could either
Yeah.
head back,
Yeah.
you know. But I was determined to stay, and I stayed out. I was out there long enough, and I started to do private lessons, and it was supplementing it somewhat. And then someone offered me a little stunt gig, and I did it. And you know, it ended up I had you know, a resource to stay out. You know, some
Right.
you know, access to money and funding.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't plan to bring that up so early in the conversation, but listen to this. There are 65 film credits for you on Wikipedia, and there are 84 on the Internet Movie Database.
Right.
Okay.
There's actually more than that. Everything I've done does not get listed. They kind of, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you the most difficult question you've ever been asked, right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Wait. Where the heck is it?
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any idea how much hours of video material about you might exist out there in the world?
Oh God, no. Does somebody? I wouldn't even know how to judge that or start to think of that.
All right. Okay. How about how many hours of film stock?
God, that's.
I'm kidding.
I wouldn't even know where to start. Does somebody have a way to figure that out? I wouldn't even know how to look that up.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there, and some of it is really embarrassing. You know, it's not like I want everything out there. You know what I mean? So, but yeah.
When I was doing my research on you, you know, I had that idea because, you know, there's your Junfan Jeet Kune Do Instructor series, which is comprehensive, to say the least. Then there's the series from Century Martial Art, and then there's stuff from Cold Steel.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's about it as far as like training material. I think that's the three sources that I've done stuff with.
Okay. All right. So I'll give you an easier
question. I've done. Okay, go for it.
I'll give you an easier question since you couldn't answer the one about film.
Okay.
How many T-shirts, martial art T-shirts, in your collection?
Yeah. My wife will look at me and she goes, "Do you own any other thing outside of a martial arts shirt and a different color other than black?" You know, so she kind of gets on me. In fact, you know what? She just went and took over and she goes, "I'm gonna go make some shirts," and she did. And they came back and I go, "Diana, they're pink," and she goes, "They're red." I go, "That's pink," and we had this big argument over it. So, yeah. So I have a lot of martial art T-shirts, which I'm sure you do.
Oh yeah. Is she the design specialist?
Yes,
for your stuff? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I'll start to come up with a design, and she just kind of looks at me in horror and goes, "I got it. Just go away." You know. So yeah.
Yeah. So. Do you use T-shirts as a ranking system?
You know what? I was gonna do that, and I don't know if you. I don't know if you remember like the old Junfang Kung Fu way of ranking it, like the hollow circle and a certain color as they went up. We were gonna do that.
Yep.
And then I got away from it, and then I thought about going the way Shoot Wrestling did it. Like they would have the shirt and it'd have a logo, and then on the patch on the side, he would put a tiger, and it would be a different design for if you were whatever level, a pro shooter or just an instructor. And I thought about that, and I tried to do it, but I'm gonna be quite honest. Stocking all that, like if I'm gonna do a ranking system with students, you know what I mean? It's like I would have to get like X amount of smalls and large and mediums and double X's and triple X's, and you know what I mean? And it's just I kind of like went, you know what? No, we're not gonna do it that way. But I just recently I did an instructor shirt. If somebody got ranked instructor, they get a shirt that has an instructor like little thing on it, and I left it at that, And if I don't have a size, I'll just order it for them. They're gonna have to wait. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Hey, somebody reminded us that you have videos from Point Man Productions.
Oh yeah, that's mine. But Diana and I own Point Man, so I put out like the knife stuff, the knife self-defense stuff with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now I need you to clarify something for me. Is there a difference between M.A.R.S, Martial Art Research Systems, and Inosanto Balicki Martial Arts on Avenida de los Árboles? Is there?
No. Well, I made a company, Point Man Productions. I actually, what Point Man stands for? It's John Lacoste. I named it after him because he was a point man.
Yeah.
You know, and he led the way. So
Yeah.
I went and I named it Point Man Productions.
Sweet.
Point Man is just more for like the sales stuff, like the videos and stuff like that, whatever merchandise. And M.A.R.S is just all the training that we do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so M.A.R.S has an actual physical location in Thousand Oaks.
Well, no, it's all ran out of the same place.
Okay.
But we're the main place. I teach at 2 places in California now. I'm either at Cold Steel because we have a complete training facility there, and then I'm at a place called Team Karate Center. Do you know Firebor's, Azak?
Yeah. Yes, actually, I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you about him because those videos that you guys did, where Benny Urquidez sat down and spoke with Sifu Dan, and then spoke with you. I'm not sure if the Higan Machado interview was part of that series, but
I think it was.
yeah.
I think it was.
All right. So since you brought up Mr. Aska, let me ask you this: did your curriculum, was it at all influenced by Team Karate's curriculum in any way or form?
What, my curriculum? I don't know. No. My influence is your influence. You know, Sifu Dan.
Yeah.
But Firebor's has adopted a lot of what I do, and he's thrown into his curriculum.
Okay.
You know, he's got an amazing curriculum. The guy's outstanding, but he likes my knife and my weapon stuff.
Yeah.
So he's grabbed that and put it in it.
All right. So it worked. See, that's what I thought. I thought that it worked in that direction, right?
Yeah.
But even though I think that sometimes, even though we have our own curricula, like a lot of times we don't even have it written down.
Right.
Right. Like,
yeah. I know a lot of people who,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they retain it. I have to write it down. I'm a note taker. And, you know, and that's all I did. I mean, pretty much what Guro Dan is, he would teach on a Monday night and he would show that, or usually it was Tuesday, Thursday nights to be accurate. And then each week I'd just write it down and I had a master list. I'm like, oh, he hit that. Oh, that's something new. And I just kind of compiled and made a bigger list. You know, it's common sense, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. You mentioned the Cold Steel Training Center. So that place has tons of training equipment. I mean, like incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So tell me, what's the makeup of training equipment for empty-handed sparring? What do you guys wear?
I mean, boxing gloves. I'll throw a cup on, a mouthpiece. You know, I've been wearing headgear a little bit more lately than I used to, which everybody should. But yeah, I mean, you know, the health issues and stuff that I've had. That's why I'm wearing these glasses now. My vision's good if I shut one eye, shut the other eye, but I have double vision now. And what it came from is I got hit in the chest either sparring or doing stunt work, and I got a blood clot on my heart. It rooted through, grew inside my heart, and they estimate it was in there minimum 6 years, which is a wild thing to think.
Wow.
You know, and yeah, but it was so big it was starting to break up, and they said that some of it went up and gave me a little bit of a brain aneurysm, and it affected my optics, my vision.
Yeah.
They thought I had something called trochlear palsy. It's where your eye will rotate in the orbit. Yeah. It's like Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that. It was the tumor affecting my vision. And now, you know, sorry, somebody came in the kitchen.
That's okay.
Water. Okay, sorry. It affected my vision, and it led them. It actually saved my life. It led them to the tumor in my heart, and they had to go in and take the tumor out. But they said I have a lot of lesions on my brain, consistent with a lot of concussions and or whatever damage the aneurysm gave me. Yeah. So now it's like he didn't want me to spar at all, and I'm like, yeah, that's not really going to happen. I got, you know, I got to spar. You know. Yeah. Yeah.
Not to dwell on that stuff, but when something like that happens, what impact does it have on you? I mean, did it make you stop and look at things differently?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, we weren't sure what was going to happen. You know, the doctor was really optimistic. He's like, look, you know, the scariest part for me, he goes, we only lose like 5% of people, especially, he goes, Bron, my average patient is 75 years old and 75 pounds overweight. He goes, you're a young man still, you're in good shape. You know,
Yeah.
I have no doubt you're going to get through this. He said, what I do worry about is we have a high percentage of stroke on the table. And that kind of freaked me out because I didn't want to wake up that way either, you know. But, you know, my recovery was really quick from it. It was, I think the first month I felt like I was 200 years old. I could barely move. Anybody who's had any kind of heart work, you'll know every cough, you just thought, you know, it was the end of the world with each cough.
Yeah.
But by the 4th week, all of a sudden I was starting to do stuff again. I felt good. 6 weeks in, I did a movie. I did a TV show. I did stunts on a TV show 6 weeks after. I did a TV show called The Last Ship, and I had a big machete fight on it. I mean, he literally kicked me in the chest.
Yeah.
It was, you know, it was good. I mean, he was so worried about it. I'm like, no, it's good. It's good. Come on. You know,
Yeah.
and it went well. And that was like, I think the barometer I used, because I go, God, is it over for me? You know, I didn't know how, if it was going to like knock any of the life out of me or
Right.
my ability. And I just ran after it with a vengeance. I just wanted to see if I could come back. And, you know, I fought in a Cold Steel Challenge in a knife fighting competition, and I won it. I went, oh, this is all right. I'm fine. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. So. Okay. Go backwards on that. Were you part of Yuri Nakamura, Sensei Yuri's first American team for Shudo in Japan? You were.
Yes.
What year was that?
Yeah.
What year was that?
Well, the first year that I went, what did I go the first year? I think the first time was 95 or 96. Okay. And then I went again in 97. I don't know if you want to call me the first, because the first time I went, it was Chad and Eric.
Right.
But I was training with them then.
Okay.
And then I went the next time, I believe. And I went I went a couple times. And, you know, I loved it. It was great. There was no real money in it or anything like that. And we're considered pro. And it was, I don't want to put it down, but I mean, everybody knows about this. The first time I went, I made a few $1,000s. I actually lost the fight. You can watch it. He got the armbar. I said I had got out of it. If you watch the whole thing, there was a whole big thing about it, but doesn't matter. I lost. But I got paid a couple $1,000s. And then the second time I went, I won, and they gave me $500. And they said, we want you back again, but now you got to pay your own airfare.
Yeah.
And all you're going to get is $500. My wife was like, Ron, come on.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm married and I got a kid and I'm giving up a lot of work for training time.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't feasible to keep doing it, you know. So that's what kind of pulled me away from the competitive part.
Yeah.
But I had done the amateur shoot fighting, and then I got to go to Tokyo a couple times and fight in pro. Okay. And it was a blast. I loved it.
Chad Stahelski, I've heard him say something like, the amount that you get paid in stunts versus what they were getting paid in fighting, he thought.
Yeah. And that was it. You're 100% correct. And that was it, because I had given up so much time for movie stuff to just be in the gym and just, you know, make sure I was ready for the fight. And the hard part back then was the fight's on. Oh, Ron, no, it's postponed. And the fight's on, you know, it's off. And it was like, after 6 months training, you're told it's off. And you'll go in another 6 months. And to keep that level, you know, you train for a fight just to try to stay healthy and stay not burnt and not injured, you know, free of injury. It got exhausting. And then when I got out there, I was thinking $500, that's a day's work on a movie set, you know, and
right.
You know, it wasn't feasible to keep doing it. Yeah, it was tough.
Okay. Now when you left for LA, stunts, that was not part of the plan, or was it?
What, to shoot and fight and shoot though?
No, when stunt work, like part of the grand.
Oh no! It wasn't the plan at all.
Right.
In fact, you know, my first introduction in the stunt work, I was just working out, and you know Tsuyoshi, right? Tsuyoshi B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, well, Tsuyoshi had a friend who was a stunt coordinator, Jeff Pruitt, and Jeff
Okay.
had come in, and he was watching his workout. It was Mike Mikatis, Joel Clark, and I,
Wow.
and he said, "Hey, I'm doing this little movie. You guys want to do it with me?" And we're like,
Yeah.
"Sure," you know. And we figured it was going to be a night of just fun, just stupid stuff. And we did the movie, and it was this really cheesy, Sword of Honor, and it was oh God, I forgot who was in it. I think it was Rothrock. Cynthia Rothrock might have been in it.
Okay.
This guy Stephen Lee. There's a couple of those names, you know, like the Art Camacho era people. And
Yeah.
I did the movie, and I guess he liked me, and they were doing this new TV show. He asked me if I wanted to do it. It was called Power Rangers, and I said, okay, what's a Power Ranger? And
Good.
ended up doing that for a year or two. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So, and that's what got me going with it. But it wasn't the plan, not at all.
you said that the class that he watched was you, Mike Mukatis, Joel Clark. Was that
Yeah, I think
was that
it wasn't really a
Sensei
class. It was
Yuri's
just
class?
us training.
Oh,
No, no, it
okay.
was just us working out. I think Tsuyoshi was working out with us, but Jeff came in, and Jeff was a really good guy for those out there who might know who Jeff is. But he would give a lot of newbies who, you know, a try. And
Yeah.
and he did. I mean, that movie, if you watch Sword of Honor, I did fights, I did gun stuff, I did a high fall. I mean, he's like, "You feel like doing it?" I'm like, "Sure." You
Yeah.
know, and he just let me have at it, and
Right.
it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of training in California, because we've seen
Mm-hmm.
you in video with Sensei Yuri, we've seen you in
Mm-hmm.
video with Victor Detours. All right.
Right.
Let me see.
Edgar Saluti.
Edgar Suliti, right? Randy
Yeah.
Williams.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wait, who am I missing? Right. So
Um,
I mean, I know that Sifu Dan would make everybody available to every, you know, would give everybody a class, right?
right.
The what? Let me see. What's the question? Okay, so one of the questions is, I just thought of it. So I've seen you in all those scenarios. I've never seen you in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gi.
You know what? I did train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I didn't train it as long as I was a Shuto guy, and I was doing
Yeah.
that. And I was running up by the Machados for a little while, taking lessons. And then I had trained with a few others. And I just didn't dive into it. And I'm a little, you know, I always wanted to, but I was one of Yuri's guys. And I think that at that time, it was like, I'm a Yuri guy. I got to stay there. And, you know,
Yeah.
that's the one area. I don't want to be political but I just felt that it wasn't forced on me to stay there. And the whole Inosanto thing is go to everybody,
Right.
but it just was almost encouraged for me. Stay
Yeah.
right where you're at right now. And
Yeah.
so I did. And I'm kind of sorry I did, because I mean, I have friends I'll roll with, and just the positioning and a lot of the things that Shuto lacked. And I don't want to say it lacks anything, but you got to think of the dynamic. We were encouraged to punch and kick and knee and throw. And once you were on the ground, you only had like 10, 15 seconds. And if nothing was going on, they stand you back up. And you drag somebody down 3-4 times, you're toast, you know, you're like, you know, and I don't feel my position game ever got that strong, but my quick submissions got really good, because we were encouraged, get that hook, because it was
Right.
audience driven more than just technique driven, I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I've never
We had
seen
to
you
entertain the audience.
right. The other thing I've never seen you in is Thai boxing shorts.
What? Oh God.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, if you go hunt on the
I've never
internet, you'll
seen
see me with Chai.
well, I know.
Oh no.
But
I mean, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, we broke up. I didn't catch what you just said.
yeah, no, I don't think I've ever seen a picture of you, but I know that you trained with him and that you're a Muay Thai instructor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right?
no, I had Thai shorts on this weekend. So yeah. No, I've never gotten to do a video with Ajahn, but I love Ajahn Chai, and I've trained and still work his material all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it.
Yeah. What talking about working material? Are you still in touch with Larry Lindenman? What's he up to? If you're still in touch with him.
Oh yeah, you know, I was gonna bring him up loosely to you. I have these camps, and this year he didn't come, but the year before we had him come out, and he teaches this thing. He has a system. Look him up, you'll love it. It's point-driven training, and I don't know if you've looked into him, but you know that he was a lieutenant, I believe, on the Illinois State Troopers. I mean, he went through a lot. He was, I think, child homicide for a while. Then he was undercover for a while, and he teaches how to fight in a car, and it's nothing like what you think. So what we did at the camp is we bought 2 junk cars from a junkyard. So we had 2 people in front, 2 people in back of 2 different cars. So we cycled 8 people through. He would give us scenarios, and we would just go for it in cars and have out and out fights. It was so much fun. I call it car jitsu, but it was a blast. And he's just his theory and everything. Yeah. It came through so well. And I invited a lot of undercover police officers to come and train in the cars. And a couple of them were like 20, 30-year guys. And they're like, we thought we had a handle on it. We had no idea. Yeah. And it was just really eye-opening, because at times he would say, go hide a weapon anywhere you want. You go in there, you hide it. And he'd say, all right, have a conversation with whoever's in the car with you. And then if you think they're going to do something, you handle it or you initiate it. And whoever went for the weapon, I don't care if the weapon was in between you, if he would lay it on the seat in between you, it seemed whoever grabbed that weapon first died. Right. Even if you got your hands on the weapon. And what did he do? It really did prevail. He'd be an interesting person for you to sit down with. You should hook up with him and have him on. Yeah. Because he's gone so far. Right. Yeah. I think the audience would love to hear from him. He's brilliant. Okay. Everything he's thought of and the level he's taken it to is just awesome.
So in your own personal experience working in different areas, law enforcement and what have you, because like you said, they thought they had a handle on it. What's something else that maybe surprises you that law enforcement people, maybe even military, that they still have not caught up to?
Well, I train a lot of police officers, and it's funny, I'll start to do the disarm thing. And I'll say, we're going to do disarming. And then they go back and I'll see the arms cross and they give that look. And, and they won't look at it, won't train it. And I like to think I found a way to get them to do it. And all I do is I give a scenario is, look, I'll put a belt and I'll lay my shirt over it. I go, right now, if you see a knife, you should be distance everything, unless, the problem is if you're military or police, more police, you have to stay if there are pedestrians in the way. You can't just run and put other people in harm's way while you sit back and watch, what's going to happen. Right. So you're stuck being right in between the innocents and this person who's going to potentially accost someone. So I'll put a knife in my belt and I'll cover it with my shirt and I'll say, look, I know you don't believe in knife disarming, but here's the deal. I have this. If I went for it, and if you can't get your hands on me to stop me, or if you can't get away, by the time I get out and I'm coming at you, I'll bet you I could stick you before you could get gun drawn or get yourself to safety. Yeah. So is it fair to say that if you can't get out of the way, should we attempt to get the disarm, or should we just die because you don't believe in disarming? And they'll usually concede and give me that. And then I've got to prove it to them that I can maybe bring their chances up. It's better to have a tool in the box than nothing at all. And that's what I give them. Yeah. Okay. What is the biggest takeaway? Because I'm going through the list of people that we know you've trained with. So what's the biggest takeaway from your time spent with Sensei Nakamura? Oh, control. I mean, I feel ever since my time with him, I mean, everybody's given me a little something, but I mean, his level of, I feel jiu-jitsu is an amazing art. Like I already gave it the credit for the positioning and how to establish all that. I thought shoot for the street was a little better for me. I don't want to put it down. I don't want to
Yeah.
put down jiu-jitsu. I don't want to put down anything.
Yeah.
But I just found, because we only had a limited amount of time on the ground before they'd stand you up because the audience was getting bored, that on the street, I want to get back to my feet quick too. And I found with him, it's like if the initiation's there, grab that person, get him down. And if it's not going that way, how to get your butt back up and get away from that person. And I think Yuri gave me a better handle of that. Also, Sensei Nakamura. Okay. I just felt that I could control the situation. And I got into a confrontation with my wife, and I were there, and a person, and it was right during my time fighting. It was while I was going. And a guy came at me and attacked me, and I had my wife and then my like 4 or 5 year old son Sebastian with us, and I, you know, a lot of people were like, "Oh man, that big guy's gonna beat up the little guy," and I got him down. I handled the situation, and we nullified it. I mean, it wasn't a big knockdown, but he was trying to hurt me, and I felt what really came out was the Muay Thai and the Shuta. I felt it got me through it, and it told me something then. You know, I mean, it told me, like, not that everybody else, being Guru or Larry or Sifu Larry or any of those others, didn't give me something of value. I just felt the way Yuri trained us, the way he made us just continually, like, relentlessly go after each other, and it just worked for me. Maybe just because I was training so much at that time, that's what came out of me, but it came out.
Okay. Your Penjak Silat background is Sifu Inosanto originally, and then time with Victor de Torres?
Well, it was Guru Dan. Then I was with Herman Sawanda. I went to Indonesia with Herman Sawanda. Yeah, Paul Dutoit, and then it was Victor Dutoit. Yeah. Okay.
All right. And so then let's for lack of a different expression, let's lump the Penjak Silat together. What's the biggest takeaway in Indonesian Silat, from Indonesian Silat?
I would say, I don't know if this will sound right. You'll get it. I don't know if everybody else will. Geometry. Do you understand what I mean? It's like weakening lines and figuring out what the best angle to push or pull or tug. And a lot of people poo-poo Silat. You know, they're like, you go to, like, say you're going to Sapu Luar, you're going to leg sweep them, and they'll pick their leg up out of there, like, it doesn't work. I'm like, well, wait, it's not really a fair assumption, because I'm just setting my foot there and moving you. But if you drive in like you're like something comparable to a Muay Thai kick, and then you pull that line, I think you'll have a better effect. But the line of recognition said something to me. It changed it. And I think Guru Dan always preached that. He goes, Kali is amazing. He goes, but the lines, the efficiency of the line in Silat will give you something. It'll enhance your Kali.
See, it's interesting that you said that, because my introduction to Penjak Silat, I immediately associated its geometry, to use your word, with Kali's geometry.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I know where you're coming from. Yeah, and like Guru Dan would say when he was with Paul Dutoit, he'd say, let me see you do some of your, Kali. He showed him. It's really funny, because Guru Dan, you know how he is. He'll never put it down, but he goes, I like this guy best. He was the best, meaning Lacosta. His lines were only 3 degrees off, and Guru would be like, oh my God, okay. There always had to be a correction, but he really, Paul Dutoit really praised John Lacosta. He really loved that system, and he said that's the one, Dan. That's the one that I really liked.
So if you weren't doing what you're doing today, do you have any idea what you might be doing? Would you still be in law enforcement yourself?
No, I think so. When I first moved to LA, that's one thing I didn't bring up. But when I first moved out here, I moved out here with the intent of, I left Chicago. Let me go to LA. I'll see if I can get out of the department there, and that way I get to train with Guru Dan and still be in law enforcement. And I went through all the testing. I went through the physical. I went through psychological. I went through the background, and I was just waiting. And I did get the call, but I got the movies. I was dating Diana by then. she wasn't real wild about me doing that, and I just kind of let the law enforcement thing go, and just kind of stayed with the stunt work. And it's so funny because I'm here in Wisconsin. My mom and everybody are out here, but I think my mom at first was happy that I left the department, and then I got into stunt work, and I think it was kind of like, oh crap, now he's gonna set himself on fire. So
Okay, so you brought up just now your involvement in what I call Jeet Kune Do royalty, right? Actually, you should know my secret nickname for you is Mr. Diana Inosanto.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I get that once in a while. Yeah.
So
it is. Go on. What were you gonna say?
Okay, so if it's not too personal an intrusion, because here's my imagery. Everybody, not everybody, but you know what I mean. Everybody must have been attracted, and she must have had her choice. It's a bad word to select, but she must have had her choice. So why you? Not that there's anything wrong with you.
I think maybe I was the most persistent. I don't know. It's just the stars aligned. It was funny because we were just friends for a long time, and it started because I was. She didn't have any training partners at the time, and she would come and work out with me, and we were just friends for a while. And then we dated for like about a year before we even let anybody know that we were dating, because we figured if it didn't work, she wasn't out to nuke me, she wasn't going to say anything. And, and we were just going to keep it low key, and, and we figured, all right, it's going good. Let's let everybody know. And then we dated a while longer and obviously married. Yeah. But I was persistent. She was hot. Come on, man. She was
hey.
She was it.
You won't get any argument from me on that.
No. Hey, I think I lost you. I don't know if you locked up or if I lost you.
Yeah, no, it happens. It happens
Dwight?
all the time. So listen,
Dwight. I'm calling Dwight.
So you said that the intention was partially law enforcement. Okay, so let's imagine that you could be doing something else today. That's okay. That you could be. Is there something?
Is there something if I wasn't doing martial art, where would I go?
Yeah.
I'd probably be. Diana and I have gotten into real estate a lot.
Okay.
And I probably would pursue that a lot harder. We bought. We've owned a couple pieces of property now, and we bought land in Colorado. We have 70 acres of land out there, and we're talking about building out there. And I think I would pursue that a lot more.
Okay.
I think that would be the route.
Yeah.
But back then, like when I was in California, if the movie thing hadn't happened, it would be back to law enforcement. I know it would have.
Okay. So I had a question here. What's something upon which you are an authority, but most people would be surprised to find out? So is that real estate?
Wow, an authority.
Yeah.
What do I know? Like, are you talking about like a trade?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, all of us know you as, a preeminent martial artist. But is there something that people have no idea, right, and might be surprised to find out that you're an authority on it?
Body and fender. Isn't that funny? Body and fender. When I was a kid, I used to work at my uncle's body shop. And I ended up doing that until I got in the police department. I did a little bit of like labor and construction with my brother, but the main thing was body and fender. I used to, I did everything from helping him stretch limousines, straightening frames, bondo, welding, painting, everything. And, it was okay. It just wasn't for me. I knew that wasn't going to be my lifelong trade, but I got pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find it fascinating that those of us who ended up committing ourselves to lifetime martial arts, that very few of us grew up intending to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
I
So,
never thought martial art would be my trade. I never thought that. I thought it was my, I don't know, a little more than a hobby, but I
yeah,
didn't think it would be monetized.
yeah. So, where do you think then, do you think you had the discipline to persist in martial arts and to persist in acquiring your beloved wife? Do you think that did you develop that through martial art, or did you have that before?
No, if you had ever met my family, my mom said that I've never stuck with anything in life the way I have martial arts. I was always inquisitive. I always wanted to learn something, but I would just kind of book out of it once I got a little bored. But martial arts, I like you. I think we're all cut from the same cloth to a point. It is just I can't picture myself without it, and I think that I stuck in it, and I realized that there are a lot of hurdles and there's a lot of boring time. Tell me you don't train, you're like, oh my God, same thing, same old, same old. I just try to find new ways to reinvigorate that desire and go to a new area. And it's really easy through the Inosanto lineage, because you could learn something. You think you know it. You could train it for 20 years and all of a sudden he does something. And you're like, what the heck is that? And he's like, I've shown you this. And Guro always calls it, you can't see the forest because the trees are in the way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really the way I feel with martial arts is I'm still rediscovering it. And sometimes it's the old material, bringing it back and looking at it with new eyes. And I think that's what keeps me going.
He, last year in Atlanta, he did something in double stick. And I go up to him and I say, you've never shown it to me that way. And he says, Dwight, yes, I have. You're just getting old and forgetful.
Oh no. You know what the best is? When you screw up, he'll never say you screwed up, but he'll say, oh, you could do it that way too. And I'm like, oh, I suck, but yeah, I've had similar speeches from him. He's like, Ron, or he'll give me the, how long have you been with me? And I'm like, okay, I just messed up. So
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
It's a lot of material though, and maybe he did show it and we're just so overwhelmed.
Oh yeah.
He bombards you and I leave with a headache and I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, let me do 2 or 3 more. Major takeaway,
Okay.
time spent with Punang Guro Sulite.
My major takeaway, I would say his personality. He was wonderful. He was lovely. But once he was in the fight, he wasn't the same guy, and I think he gave me that, I don't know, his temperament suit me. I love Gruden, and I'm not putting him down in any way, but he's so nice.
Yeah.
And he'll have you spar and, it'll be on, but Punang Guro would just try to bring out the killer in you, and but then afterwards he would he make you sing karaoke. It was weird, but he had this intensity and this pressure that I had never felt, and he was, what I loved about him, a lot like Inosanto, if you brought something from a different system and if it worked, he was like clapping, saying, do it. That's awesome. And show me it, and he never ever put you down for it. But if you were in there and you weren't giving 100%, he'd try to take your head off with a stick too, and I if you ever look the videos that I put out, those knife videos, he had passed away when I was making them. He knew I was making them and I told him I was going to use his material as part of it. But when he died, I think it's the second volume, if you watch after the credits, it goes back on and it's him beating me up with a stick. He's him sparring me and he just disarms me and he goes after me. And if you watch it, he had a way of, like, if I was in must, he could knock me out of it in a second. He would let me shine. He'd let me hit him. But then I think once he got to a point where he's like, all right, you're getting a little too full of yourself, he would just smack you back into shape. And it was awesome. And he did it in a loving way, though. He wasn't a jerk to you. but he just really made you think that you weren't all you were, but he made you believe that you could reach that. I don't know if I'm saying this correct.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get it. Okay, so two more.
Yeah.
With all that in your background, how do you make sense of it all? How do you put it all together? Mentally, psychologically, physically, et al.
All right. For one, I'm a copious note taker. I sat with Guro Dan once, and he told me a story of, I asked him almost virtually the same question you're asking me. And he goes, I'm on a 3-year cycle, Ron. He goes, I'll start one wave of something, like one category, say it's a single stick. He goes, I have a basic message I want to send, and it takes me 3 years to send it. So he'll hit one area, and it'll drift him into another area of that stick, into another area, into another area, and by that time it's at the 3rd year, and then he's back at the beginning of that. I took that to heart, and I tried to make it that way, and I geared my material that way with people. So within 3 years, if somebody's with me in that amount of time, they've pretty much seen where I want to go. Obviously, what's the analogy? It's like an airplane. An airplane is always adjusting its course to get where it's at. It never flies just one straight line. Yeah. So along the way, I'll adjust because I got new information in, and I try to take that in, or I'm trying to, like, we'll say field test it. And there are times I'm ready for that material. Other times I'm not. Sometimes I catch my lunch, but that's the research part. You know, what is it? Werner von Braun, you ever hear that quote? Research is what I do when I don't know what I'm doing. And I love that quote. And it is. It really, you know, you're going to take it. Somebody's going to show you it. I'm going to go, okay, how do I employ it within what I'm doing? Yeah. And I'm like, bam, it didn't work that way. Bam, didn't work that way. Ooh, I got some success this way. Right. And then, you know, you'll take it. But then that comes to you had like a 3-part question, but I know psychologically. I think physically, though. At my age where I'm at, 540 kicks aren't a big thing. I'm not going to do them. So I go, all right, well, that's kind of out right now. Yeah. So what can I do, though? Yeah. And what, all right, I can kick. Luckily, I could still kick somebody in the head, although that's even getting to be at work. But I'll say, all right, I'm going to work this area and try to, like, just see what I could create or see what I could pull off in there. And if it's not feasible, then I go. Like, after the chest thing, my grappling game just went, you know, obviously I'm not having people that, because they cut your sternum open, and it heals. Like he said, envision an M&M. You got the hard candy coat on the inside, it's soft on the outside, it's soft on the inside. That's the way your sternum's healing. Yeah. He goes, so you'll think you're good, but don't let somebody bounce on your chest right now, because it could break and you're back at square one. Right. And so I got away from the grappling for over a year. And he wanted me to, you know, and I listened to him. Normally, I'll defy a doctor and try to do stuff, but I didn't grapple. I did a lot of other stuff I wasn't supposed to. But I just figured I didn't know how heavy I was going to get. I didn't want to put the responsibility on somebody else of, oh, no, I dropped on Ron too much and I broke him. You know, so I really watched my grappling, and I seen it decline. So I go, all right, it's declining. What can I do instead of that? And other areas came up. Now I'm starting, well, now I'm starting. I've been grappling a while, and I'm starting to feel more myself. I don't think I'm where I was, and I'm not training like I used to train with Yuri, but I'm getting back to a proficiency where I feel I'm not totally ashamed to do it now. Okay. You know, as far as my proficiency level. I don't know if I answered all that or not.
No, that's fine. Okay, last one. Because we've both alluded to it. Major takeaway from the Inosanto family.
The major takeaway from the Inosanto family.
Yeah.
Our personal family, or are you talking about the martial art family?
Well, see, because, you know, it's obvious that there's stuff that there'd be major takeaways from your father-in-law, right? And then there's major takeaways from your involvement with his daughter, but maybe major takeaways from your observation of them as a family. Okay. Does that make sense?
yeah, just like any other family, there's a lot of dynamics, good and bad.
Yeah.
You know, I love, no matter how bad or how intense or whatever, Guru makes sure he knows that he loves us. He's there for us. I like what he did, and I try to raise my son that way a lot. Is, you know, he said something to Diana once, and she always tells me this, and I think she's okay with me saying this. When she was young, you know, the boy stage, you know, he talked about like relationships and them going further, and, you know, kind of the whole fatherly thing about, you know, like saving yourself or whatever. And she said, he goes, look, Diana, you're going to fall in love. There'll be people. I just want you to think of yourself, not even just with men, but just like alcohol, drugs, everything else, is that your body is your temple. And if you don't cherish it and honor it and keep it strong and healthy, and it's going to wither and die.
Yeah.
And I want you to, you know, you make that decision, but before you make that decision, all I'm asking you is to think that out, and just remember that I am telling you, your body is your temple. Be there for it and honor it. And I really like that, and it hit me. And he says it much more poetic than I'm saying it. But I you know, the man's outstanding. You know he is. So my major takeaway from that family is, you know, he's different. He's different than other people. My father, you know, was an awesome man. I love him. I lost him. You know, and I've learned a lot of life lessons from him also. But from the Inosanto side, I've seen him endure racism. I've seen him endure a lot of large egos out there.
Yeah.
And I've seen him always do it with dignity and class. And not that I'm that way. I strive to be, you know, and he's an amazing role model.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Diana is probably more like him than anybody else in that Inosanto family. And you know her. She loves you to death, but you've seen her mannerism, the way she carries herself. She is a lot like Guru Dan.
Yeah.
In her beliefs and her view of life.
Yeah. All right. Listen,
yeah.
I know you got stuff to do. You got family to take care of. Thank you so much for doing this.
Dwight, I miss you. I love it. I don't think I've ever been bored around you. You rock. And I thank you for having me on.
Sure thing.
Diana, I talked to her. I said that you wanted her, and she said just let her know. You should just give her a call.
Yep.
And we talked about Larry. He'd be an interesting character because
yeah.
I truly believe he's one of Inosanto's best stickmen out there.
Okay.
And that's not even the areas that he's going. But he's an interesting character. I think you'd get a lot out of.
Yeah. Actually, I thank you for that, because I think from now on what I'll do is I'll ask whoever I'm dialoguing with who they think is the next person I should talk to.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's no shortage of people for you to talk to. That's the beautiful thing about what we do. Yeah. Yeah. And I've watched a bunch of your podcasts. I really like them. Are these considered podcasts if they're on FB?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're like video podcasts or something. Yeah. I just kicked myself in the head that I didn't start doing it a long time ago.
Yeah. You know, technology, at least you're doing it now. That's the way I look at it. You know, I mean, it's who else is doing it? You're doing it, so it's cool. And who better? I mean, your history is so rich with the Inosanto Academy. You know, it's changed your life forever. You know, I see that guy standing right behind you right now. And Bruce Lee, and he influenced you, me, everybody else. And it's all payback. You're giving back, and I really appreciate it. Yeah. And I appreciate you.
I appreciate your saying that. All right, man. We'll do it again for sure.
Okay. All right, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Take care.
I appreciate it. You take care. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Out of Jacksonville, and I'm pretty sure he'll have something to talk about last week, this weekend's incident. All right, so that's it. This is Dwight Woods signing off. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Take care.